Welcome to Copilot from Zero to Agent. If you're new to Copilot and agents, you are in the right place. In this course, we will start from the basics, what generative AI is, what Copilot actually does, and why permissions and licensing matter. Then we will move step by step into building agents that you can reuse in real work. Then I will show you in practical terms what agents are, specialized helpers that follow clear instructions, how to use the right knowledge source, and produce consistent output so you don't need to repeat the same setup every day. Third, you will see and use built-in agents like Researcher and Analyst with beginner-friendly examples, so you learn when each agent is the right choice. And finally, you will create your own agents using Agent Builder and Copilot Studio. One simple agent first, then a slightly more advanced one, so you understand the full journey from idea, build, test, share, and publish. By the end, you will not only know about agents, you will have a repeatable checklist you can use to build your next agents for your own work or for your team. Also, don't worry if you feel like there is too much. That is normal in the beginning, because Copilot is not just one button. It's a whole way of working. My recommendation is simple. Watch the lesson once without pausing, just to understand the big picture. Then watch it a second time and pause to copy exactly what I do. You can keep, if you can, a small note next to where you were, and you can write down only 3 things: the tool we used, the goal of the prompt, and the format of the output. That routine will save you a lot of time, and it helps you avoid the most common beginner mistakes, trying to memorize everything instead of practicing it in a small step. And before we start, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Vladimir Živković, and I'm a Microsoft certified trainer and Azure cloud expert and Microsoft 365 Copilot expert. I hold several certifications. Among them, I want to highlight the AZ-104 and AZ-305, and also I have the AWS Certified Solution Architect professional certification. Today, I work in Azure, AI, and Microsoft 365 Copilot consultant. I've been in IT for 16 years, and over the course of my career, I've trained several thousand people, from complete beginners to experienced engineers. I was also a Udemy instructor for 5 years, and many people know me for my marathon-style Azure and AWS courses, which have sold tens of thousands of times. In this course, I teach step by step. You will see exactly what I do in a logical order, so you can pause, copy the settings and prompts, and practice confidently. One more thing. I'm not here to impress you with the complicated demos. I'm here to help you actually use these tools. So in every lesson, I will keep the demo data simple, safe, and realistic. And I will repeat key steps so you can follow along. If you're watching this as a beginner, treat it like a hands-on lab. Pause the video, do the same clicks, and then come back. If something does not work, don't panic. Usually it is only of 3 reasons: licensing, permission, or small differences in UI between tenants. I will call those out as we go, because the goal is not a perfect demonstration or demo. The goal is that you can reproduce it on your side. Now, let's move on. Now, what you will learn in this course. First, we will take a deep knowledge and understand what is a Copilot. We will learn what Microsoft 365 Copilot is and how it differs from basic AI chat. You will master agents, discover what agents are, use built-in agents like Researcher and Analyst. We will build and publish. You can create your own agents using Agent Builder and Copilot Studio and then publish them. Then this is a course roadmap. I split them in a few modules. As you can see, first we will look at foundations, what is generative AI, LLMs, and Copilot basics. Then in the second module, we will talk about features, licensing, and comparisons. Then in module 3, we will learn about pre-built agents, Researcher and Analyst. Module 4 is for building agents. We will learn how can we build our agents or work in Agent Builder, and we will see a demonstration how can we set up an agent in, for example, OneDrive or SharePoint. And in the last module, we will use Copilot Studio to build our agent, and I will then explain how can we work and publish that agent. So it's time to move to module 1, and the first lesson is what is generative AI. Now it's time to start with module 1, when we look at some foundations like generative AI, LLMs, and how Copilot works. Once again, welcome to this course, and as you can see, we will understand what Microsoft 365 Copilot is and how it differs from basic AI chat. Then we will learn what agents are and why they are useful. Then we will use built-in agents like Researcher and Analyst, and once again we will create our own agent. But first, let me just tell you that my intentions as an instructor and my goal is very simple. I will try to help you understand agents in Microsoft 365 Copilot and show you how to build them in a way that looks in real life. We will see exactly what can we do. I will also explain most common mistakes so you can avoid frustration. One important boundary: we will not use sensitive or private information in prompts. Copilot respects our permissions, and you should always work inside your organization rules. You will learn good habits from the start. But first, let's learn what is generative AI. Generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence or AI that creates new content. When you ask a question or given instructions, it generates a response that looks like something a person could write. This is powerful for productivity. For example, you can draft an email, summarize a long document, or turn a list of notes into a clear plan. It saves time because it gives you a strong first version. But you need to know that you must always review the output. Generative AI can sound confident and still be wrong. So in this course you will learn how to write prompts that reduce mistakes or how to verify a result. All are all my prompts that I prepare for this course have these rules implemented. So a simple way to stay safe with generative AI is to separate drafting from deciding. First, let the AI create a first draft, options, or structure, but keep the decision and the final wording under your control. For example, you can ask, draft 3 versions of this email, and then you can choose the best one and adjust details. Or you can simply say, turn these notes into a plan, and then you can confirm the plan matches reality. In the demos, you will see me ask for clear formats like bullets and tables because structure makes it easier to review and catch mistakes quickly. When the output is structured, it is very much easier to verify it against your source and spot anything that looks off. So now that we know what is generative AI, let's hop to our next lesson. Well, now it's time to learn what is an LLM and how Copilot actually works. An LLM stands for Large Language Model. Think of it as a language engine. For example, you give it a message and it generates a helpful response in natural language. In Microsoft 365, Copilot combines the language model with your work context. That context includes things like documents, emails, and meetings you have permission to access. This is important because it keeps responses aligned with security rules. Here, the safest way to think about Copilot, it helps you draft and organize work faster, but you are still the person who reviews, approves, and decides about everything. That mindset keeps your work accurate and professional. So, when Copilots give you an answer, always ask yourself, where did this came from? For example, my files, my emails, the web, or only the wording of my prompt. That one question improves your result immediately. If the answer is too generic, you probably need more context. Attach the document, paste the key paragraph, or point Copilot to the meeting notes. If the answer sounds specific, but you are not sure it is correct, that is your signal to verify it against the source. And if Copilot cannot answer because it do not have access, that is also useful information. It means that content is protected by permissions, and you should not try to work around it. So this is the basic about what is LLM and how Copilot works. In the next lecture, we will go to our module 2, and we will learn what is Microsoft Copilot actually is. Now that we know the basic stuff about generative AI, about LLM, and how Copilot works, we are now going to know what we will learn in our module 2. The first lesson is about our Microsoft 365 Copilot. So I think this is necessary because many of you are just beginners, and I like to start from the very, very beginning. So if you already know these lessons from module 1 and module 2, feel free to skip it and go directly to the module 3, for example. So the first lesson in our module number 2 is what is Microsoft 365 Copilot? Well, Microsoft 365 Copilot is the Copilot experience designed for work. You can use it to draft content, summarize information, and answer questions using a work-friendly approach that respects permissions. In practice, you will see Copilot in two main ways. First, through Copilot chat, where you ask a question and request outputs, and second, inside Microsoft 365 apps, where Copilot helps you create and refine content in context. Unfortunately, in this course, I will not use Microsoft 365 apps like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and so on, because the main reason to create this course is agents, and I want to talk only about agents in this course. But also, you will see an area called agents. This is where you can use these specialized agents created by Microsoft or create your own agents for your team, and we will explore both in this course. As you watch demos, you can notice the Copilot becomes more valuable when you give it two things: context and constraints. Context is what the work is about, for example, a document, an email thread, a meeting. Constraints are how you want the answer. Short, structured, for a specific audience. For example, instead of saying summarize this, you can say summarize this for my manager in 5 bullets, highlight risk, and end with next steps. That combination is what turns Copilot from a generic chatbot into a real work assistant. And the good news is you don't need to complex prompts, just clear goals and clear output formats. So this is the basic. What do you need to know about Microsoft 365 Copilot? The most confusing part of understanding Microsoft Copilot 365 is licensing. And if you cannot gather yourself and remember all these licenses, you don't have to. Just use the most simple way. So in this lesson, we will talk about licensing in Microsoft 365. As you already mentioned, licensing is often the most confusing part, so let's simplify it. In Microsoft 365, a user first needs a base subscription that provides the core services like email, files, and collaboration tools. Copilot Work is commonly added as an extra license for users who need advanced AI capabilities. This is why two people in the same organization can have different Copilot experiences. They may not have the same license assignment. In this course, I will try to show you practical differences, what you can do with basic chat, what can you do with pre-built agents, and what becomes available when you have the full Copilot experience. And one practical tip: don't try to memorize license names and SKUs from day one. Instead, learn to diagnose what you see on screen. Which Copilot's entry points do I have? And can I use Copilot inside apps like Word and Teams or only in chat? That mental model is what you need in a real life. In projects, licensing decisions are usually handled by IT or procurement, but you still need to explain why a feature is present or missing. So if something doesn't show up to you, don't assume it is broken. First, check it is your license, it is admin settings, or it's simply not available in your tenant. So let's hop to our first demonstration. We will see now what kind of licensing our Microsoft has to offer. If you go to www.microsoft.com/Microsoft 365, you can compare all Microsoft 365 products. As you can see, we have different licensing. The first one is for individuals. The price may be vary from different parts of the world, but the licensing or plans are the same. The first one, we have personal plans. The first plan is Microsoft 365 Personal. As you can see, this is only for one person. You can sign into 5 devices at once. You can use it on PC, Macs, phones, and tablets. You also get 1 TB of secure cloud storage, and you can work with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and OneNote desktop app with Microsoft Copilot. Then you can see the other options and offering what are you getting, and you can see you can use monthly plan or yearly plan. Of course, if you decide to buy a yearly plan, you will get some discount. Then the second personal offer is Microsoft 365 Family. Everything in Microsoft 365 Personal, you are getting exactly the same. Plus, for 1 to 6 people, AI for subscription owner only, and each person can use up to 5 devices simultaneously. Also, you're getting 6 terabytes of secure cloud storage, 1 TB per person. So, imagine that you have, for example, family offer or plan for example, Spotify, and it works exactly the same thing. This is the apps that you get with these two plans. And finally, the last personal plan is Microsoft 365 Premium. It is almost $200 per year, and you're getting everything in just like in Microsoft 365 Family, plus you're getting AI agents to perform complex tasks for your, like creating source sites research reports, performing data analysis with visualization, extending usage for select Copilot feature, including AI generative audio to transfer, and so on and so forth. You're getting to exclusive access to advanced Copilot features and extensive usage for AI images creation in Copilot chat. So this is the most or premium offering for personal accounts. Then, okay, you can choose to pay monthly or yearly, and we have offering for business. If I click on this business button, we have different offerings for example, business. First, we have Microsoft 365 Business Basic subscription. This is annual subscription. As you can see, it is worth $6 per month if you're using yearly. And this plan includes access to management for 300 users, web and mobile versions for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Outlook. You get custom business email, chat, call, and meet with Microsoft Teams, 1 TB of cloud storage per user, and 10 plus additional apps for your business needs, like bookings, planner, and forms, a chat experience with web grounding, with assistance, data analysis, and access to agent. Of course, you have some kind of enterprise data protection, and that's it. Then we have second offer is Microsoft Business Standard. This plan includes, as you can see, some more advanced feature. And finally, we have this Microsoft 365 Business Premium. We have a lot of new things like discovery, classification, and protection of sensitive data, anytime phone and web support, and you can see what popular apps are included. So it really depends of your plan what you will choose. Then your apps, or you can work with more apps, for example. Then, of course, this is Microsoft Business Premium Standard, and that's it. And if you want the full license, the full Copilot license, some kind of add-on, you can use these options for both, for all three plans, and you can, as you can see, supercharge your plan, your basic subscription, or your standard or premium subscription. You can add on supercharge your plan with Microsoft 365 Copilot Business, and you pay $25 per user per month, and then you get a full license to work with work and web data. And finally, we have enterprise offering. As you can see, if I click on enterprise, you have Microsoft 365 E3. You have all these plans, as you can see. Then the most advanced plan is Microsoft 365 E3. This is the best in class, as you can see, AI-powered productivity apps with advanced security, compliance analytics, and AI readiness capabilities. Of course, this license comes with a hefty price, but as you can see, what are you getting? This is for large companies. And finally, the new offering from May the 1st is, or the 1st May, is Microsoft 365 E7. This comes with Frontier Suite with observability, security, and governance. So, as you can see, we have Agent 365, a control plane for agents. You have options for advanced security, network access security, desktop, web, and mobile versions for all apps, 1 to 5 plus TBs of cloud storage per user, chat, call, video going on Microsoft Teams, and finally you're getting co-work experience, secure AI build for powered by Work IQ, and access to agent, web grounded Copilot in apps, and the ability to create agents anytime, web support for all three offering. And it includes 365 Copilot, Agent 365, and Microsoft Entra Suite. So you're getting the most for $99 per month. So this is all popular apps that is included in this offering. If I go back to our business offer, and if you want to try any of this offering, because if you are if you want to work or try full Microsoft Copilot apps, you need to buy or try for free one of these business offering. For example, you can start with business standard or business premium, and if you click, for example, try for free, you can see I already using these trial versions, but we can see if I open this offer, this free trial in incognito mode, you can see how it looks like. For example, I want to try business standard trial, 1 month for free, and this is what you need to do. First, you need to choose for how many people is this. You can choose the length of your subscription, for example, 1 year or 1 month. So you can choose 1 month, and as you can see, your order is $15, but payment due today is $0. And finally, in this trial, you can add up to 25 users during trial. You have 25 license to use. Trial includes same feature as the pay product, credit card required for future billing. For example, just for security reason, Microsoft will deduct $1 from your account and then immediately back on your account just to check your identity for security reason. And finally, in this product, you will see how can you work with documents, spreadsheet, presentation, and email. You can work from anywhere, any device. You can chat and use Microsoft Teams, and you can use to backup and share files with OneDrive. And of course, you have a free 24/7 support included. In this Microsoft Business Standard trial, you will get Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Publisher, Access, Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, and Exchange. This is M365 apps, so you will be able to use it, but for the full use of Copilot, you need to add one more thing, and that is Microsoft 365 Copilot license. So you can go to next and add your email and simply follow all these steps. You need to add your email here, add your signing details, add payment, and confirm to complete offer. Don't forget to cancel this subscription. And then you will have 1 month to try all the features. Let's move on to next. Now, when you activate your license, you will see that you need to go to admin.cloud.microsoft, and from there you can use this Microsoft 365 Admin Center to create new users, to assign licenses to other users, and that's it. Now we will do a simple admin demo. I will create a user and assign a license. Even if you are not an administrator, it is useful to understand the basics because it explains why a feature appears or does not appear in your environment. As we do this, I want to focus on two ideas. First, the user account is the identity. Second, the license is the permission to use specific services. Without the license, the account exists, but services may not be available. If you recording your own demos, use a dedicated tenant and hide any personal or company identifiers. That keeps your training content safe and professional. If you're not an admin, treat this lesson as how it works and not what you must do. The key takeaways is the logic behind it. First, identity, then services. When you understand that, you will instantly understand why someone can sign in but still cannot use a specific app feature. And if you're an admin, the takeaways is keep a clean demo tenant for training and clean separation of roles so you can stay secure while you test your Copilot features. In other words, use the right admin role for the job and never use a production tenant for your YouTube videos. This is my personal account. In the company that I work on daily basis with M365, I am an administrator and consultant. So I have to work with these licenses and users on daily basis. So as you can see, we have our marketplace, for example. If I go to marketplace and we need to wait to load this page, you can see all products. So right from here you can see what do you want or you can purchase in M365. Just to remind you, M365 Admin Center is used. You can use this to add a license for your users in your company. So here you can see there is a lot of new products, and you can use your Copilot license, add-on license to upgrade your current feature for full Copilot license, of course. Now I will go to my users and create a new user. I will now add a user, and first I need to add a name. This name will be, for example, you can add different name, whatever name you want, and this is our username. Let me add, and you will get automatically your domain, or you can create automatically your password or add your own password. I will add my own password, and it is good to require this user to change their password when they first sign in. I will not. Let's make it simple, and I will just add my new password for this user, of course. So we need to wait. Our password is strong. And let's go to next. And here I will choose my location. And here you can add your password. As you can see, for Microsoft 365 Copilot Business, I don't have any license. I only have one license. I can add Microsoft Power Automate for free, but for this I will use only Microsoft 365 Business Premium. And as you can see, I have 25. Now I have used 2. Let's go to next. This is our option. You can choose what roles do you have to add to this user. You can add admin center roles, for example, administrator, exchange. This is a simple user, and you can use to see your profile info. You can add job title, department, office, or phone, and so on. Let's go to next and finish adding. And that's it. This is how can you create a new user and add a license to that user. Now we will use this newly created user to log into our to our M365 cloud service. But for now, that's it. I will see you in the next lesson. If you are still feeling confused with licensing in Microsoft 365, that's okay, as I already told you. First, we have base license. This is our M365 license. We have personal, business, and enterprise. And then, if you want to use the full experience, you need to add Copilot add-on. And you will pay for that add-on $25 or $21 per month per user. But you must have M365 Business, Standard or Premium, or Enterprise, one of those enterprise offerings. So, base license M365 Business and Enterprise plus Copilot add-on gives you full Microsoft 365 Copilot experience. Now, I hope that cleared the biggest confusion. We already saw how can you create a user and assign a license. Then, if you go to our next slide, you will see that for better understanding, I created a table. So the word Copilot is used in multiple places. The important thing is not the name, it is what the experience can do and what data it can use. So, as you can see, this is just a simple comparison. Same chat experiences are mostly web-based and general, while M365 Copilot for work can use your organization content within the boundaries of your permission. That is what makes it valuable for real work, and that where is our M365 full Copilot is really shine. So in this lesson, we will use this mindset again and again. Choose the right tool for the job. If you need a quick drafting, use chat. If you need a deeper research, use Researcher for agent, for example. And if you need data analyst, you can use Analyst. If you need a consistent behavior and a reusable app, you can build an agent. So you can choose the right job. As you can see, for example, in the basic chat, you only have web only. You can use it for quick drafting and there is no work grounding. You can use it in-app or you don't have any agent access. With M365 Copilot Chat, this is our business. This is a business and enterprise solution. For example, so CJ Daniels has a business premium Copilot subscription. You can see he can work with web. You can use chat and search. Web grounding is limited. Work grounding is limited. He cannot access apping feature, and you have basic agents access. With full Copilot access, you have web plus full work data. It is best for deep productivity. You can use full work grounding, and you can use it in app features, and you can have the full agent access. So when you hear Copilot in marketing or in a conversation, translate into two questions. First, where it is used, web chat, Microsoft 365 app, Teams, or somewhere else. And second, what content can it use, web only or your work content with permissions. If you remember only this, you will never be confused by names again. And as a bonus, this also helps you troubleshoot. If you know where you are and what the data source is allowed, you can quickly tell whether the problem is licensing, permission, or simply expectations. And that's it. I will now try to show you the difference between Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, and Microsoft 365 Copilot with full experience. I will use this table and we will see how can we work with all of this in action. If you remember from that table, we will first see the basic chat option. So if you go to copilot.microsoft.com, you will see the main chat, something like ChatGPT or Claude, for example. And right from here, you can talk with your Copilot, and you can use only web grounding. If you want to sign in, you can sign in, but it really doesn't make any difference. You can see that if you sign in, only chat that you are using will be listed here and will be available here. So for example, you have, of course, new chat, library, task, you can do projects, you can use Discover, Imagine or Labs. So here, if I click on Smart, you can choose different options. You can tell your model to think smart, think deeply or quick based on the task, think deeper, better for complex tasks, or simply study and learn. You can create quizzes, guided learning and more. You can use search, answer with and enhanced references. So for example, and of course if I click on plus, you can add your images or files, generate images, create a podcast, or take a quiz. Let's take, for example, this option and add some prompt. Prompt is just a simple instructions that you give to the model to get a response. For example, let me add something like what is highest grossing film of all time. So as you can see, I'm not logged in, so we will need to verify that we are human, and then we will get an answer. As you can see, model is now giving us a simple answer, and this was the simple question, for example. And you will see we are getting our answer in form of table. There is a keynote, and of course you can see all links or citations that was used in this answer. Also, if I, for example, paste my new prompt, this is a totally different prompt, and here we are getting some more detailed prompt. For example, I'm asking a Copilot to explain the difference between Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, and Microsoft 365 Copilot full experience. And I want to see these answers in a simple table and one real-time example for each. Let me hit on enter, and now we are waiting for our response. As you can see, here is a clear breakdown of these experiences with a simple table and real life examples to make it simply to grasp. This is a comparison table, as you can see, very detailed and with a real life example. So this is our prompt. For example, for Copilot, this is, as you can see, general AI companion available across devices and platform. You can use chat to directly for knowledge, brainstorming, or everyday help. You can ask Copilot, for example, just like we did for this answer. You can explain quantum physics like I'm 10 years old, and then you give a simple fun explanation like you are a 10-year-old child. Of course, you have Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. This is a chat interface inside Microsoft 365 apps, as you can see. And we have Microsoft 365 Copilot with full experience. This is fully integrated AI across Microsoft 365, not just chat. It works directly in the app with interface commands, suggestions, and automation. And you can see, for example, if you go to Excel, you can type this to create a chart showing sales growth by region over the last 5 years, and Copilot will build the chart right in your spreadsheet. So this is a key difference. Copilot is a standalone AI companion. Copilot Chat is conversational AI inside Microsoft 365 apps, and Copilot Full Experience is deeply integrated AI that works directly with your documents, spreadsheets, email, and presentations. And as you can see, you can continue to chat with your with model, and it will ask you something like, would you like me to also show how these three differ in terms of pricing and availability? That's often the next big question for people deciding which version to use. Of course, you have in the slide, you have this example, and you can continue to work with this. Of course, if you want, you can use this thumbs up or thumb down for good or bad response. You can share this message and prompt. You can copy this message. You can start read aloud, for example.
Here's a clear breakdown of the three experiences with a simple table and real life examples.
And you can use something like pages, and that's it. I will not use pages right now. And finally, if I go back to our first chat, I can also use, for example,
I can write stories, brainstorm ideas, and I can sound like this.
I can get philosophical.
I can't wait to learn more about you. Hi there.
Hi, hello. Can you tell me something about National Football League?
The National Football League, or NFL for short, is the professional American football league in the United States. It's composed of 32 teams divided into two conferences, the American Football Conference, AFC, and the National Football Conference, NFC. Right now we're in the off-season, but the 2026 preseason will kick off with the Hall of Fame game in August. This year it'll feature the Arizona Cardinals and
Thank you. So as you can see, you can chat with your Copilot, and you can choose a good feedback, for example. So this is, in short, how can you work with Copilot. Of course, Copilot Microsoft Chat is very, very powerful, and if you want to have your conversations saved, then you need to log in, for example, and this is our new chat. So let's move on and let's log in with our CJ Daniels and see the next offer. And now it's time to see the next option. So if I go to m365.cloud.microsoft and I will hit on sign in, I will now try to log in with my account with our CJ Daniels to my account. As you can see, this is our created this is the user that we created in earlier part of this course, and simply when you type this address, you need to add your email address, your credentials, of course password, and now we need to keep our account secure. You need to authenticate yourself with your Microsoft Authenticator. I already have installed my Microsoft Authenticator on my iPhone. So let me just grab my iPhone, and then we will hit on next. If you don't have installed, click on Google Play if you're using Android phones, or download from App Store if you're using iPhones. Now you need to set up this to your account, and finally we will use this to scan our code. Our code is scanned. Let's go to next, and finally on your phone you need to add this number and click on yes. So by using a simple notification, we are now able and we are approved to log into our account. So if I click on done, I will not stay signed in. I'll just use this for one option. As you can see, I am now logged in as CJ Daniels, and as you can see, all work in one place. Now it's easier with AI. I will click on show me. As you can see, this is our M365 subscription, business premium, and as you can see, it looks like different than the previous one, the simple AI chat. This AI chat is now integrated in our account, as you can see, and the main difference between this one and previous one is that you have this option. We have this little green mark here. This is called Enterprise Data Protection, or EDP. So it means that all your data is protected by Microsoft, the data in use and in transit. As you can see, there needs some time to get all the features, because this is the first time we are logging in, and you can use search, library, create new agent, AI agents. We have these chats, and of course this is my user. Let me just refresh this page again, and after some time I think we will be able to use this chat and see some basic demonstrations. Now after a few minutes we will be able to see how this works. So I'm logged in as CJ Daniels. As you can see, CJ Daniels are using our M365 business premium subscription, and CJ Daniels does not have full experience because we didn't we did not use our full Copilot add-on. So what can we do here? For example, you can use different features. Let me just try to copy exactly the same prompt from our previous chapter, and let me hit on yes. I will start a new chat. Here is a new chat. Finally, let me hit on generate, and we will now see what answers are we getting for explain the difference between Copilot. As you can see, this is exactly the same response, but we are getting a different answer. Now we are using business premium. If you remember, our business premium license or subscriptions for Microsoft 365, and you are getting the different answer. So you can see that our chat is now showed here. This is the name of our chat. If I click on these three dots, you can rename your chat and simply add a name, appropriate name. Of course, there is something called notebooks, but this is not the discussion right now. So I can continue to chat with my Copilot. Act as a M365 Copilot expert and draft me a document with 150 words about M365 Copilot chat. Use a professional tone and add bullets and do not use jargons. So we are now adding follow-up prompt, and we are now giving a role to our Copilot chat. So to our model, sorry. So our model is now acting as a Copilot expert, and it will use these instructions to draft a document with 150 words about M365 Copilot chat, and I want it to be professional, and I want to use bullets and do not use jargons. As you can see, now we are getting a response with a document with 150 words, professional document written for a Microsoft 365 Copilot expert perspective. So you can see how it looks like. Of course, now you can copy this, add it here, or simply read aloud. As you can see, we can read aloud.
Below is a 150-word professional document written from a Microsoft 365
or export to Word, for example. And then if I click on plus, you can see that now we have options to add the Word content, upload images and files, or attach cloud files. You can use Designer or different agents. And now, if I click on apps, you can see that now we are getting options for different apps. And we can use Outlook, Teams, Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. If I go to agents, if I click on all agents, you can see that we have some pre-built agents, and we can use, for example, some agents that is offered us by Microsoft. For example, we have idea coach, we have learning planner, and this is our feature. You can use more these agents. If I click on see more, for example, let's use our writing coach, but as you can see, we are not able to use this. Let me try, for example, idea coach. We can use idea coach. I will click on add, and now we are using this pre-built agent. And for example, you can use one of these suggested prompts. Let's use this. Hey idea coach, help me brainstorm about specific topic. Let me hit on enter, and now idea coach, this is our agent, is, as you can see, we are now waiting for an answer. And as you can see, I love it. Let's create it together. The kickoff brainstorming session, I will pay a guy. What specific topic do you want to brainstorm about? And then you need to share a topic. Let's talk about M365 agents. And now idea coach, as you can see, is now giving us a full response. And now you can talk with this agent. This is just a simple example. And of course, with CJ Daniels, which are using M365 Business Premium license, you can only work with your web content, as you can see. And here, if I click on these three dots, you can set up settings and so on and so forth. So you can continue to talk. Let's use this new use cases for M365 agents, and let's hit on enter and let's see what are we getting. And now the idea coach will begin to write, and you will get some more granular information about agent, as you can see. So you can use idea coach for any topic or anything and so on. And finally, if you want to chat again, you can use new chat, and you can even use some of your documents and so on and so forth. So this is just how can you work with this, and what is the difference between licensing in M365. And finally, we are in our, this is my personal account, M365 Business Premium with Copilot add-on. As you can see, right from the get-go, we have these two tabs. We have work and web tabs. And now we have these agents. We can create our agents. We have access to notebooks. We have my chats, as you can see, and we can start generating whatever we want. And of course, if I click on plus, you can see different options, but let me just refresh this page. And if I click on, you can add different documents, and that's it. Or you can, for example, search web, compose new Word document, PowerPoint, and you can see that we have better options and better things to work with. Of course, if you're using Windows machine, you have also this app, M365 app on your desktop on your Windows machine, and you can see that it is a premium one. As you can see, my plan is Microsoft 365 Copilot. Answers are powered by WorkaQ, which reasons over your meetings, email, chats, files, and more. So let me just try to show you one more thing. Let me, for example, type generate a simple picture for M365 agents. Let's see what can be done with what it will. And here it is. It's create a picture. It's creating a picture. This is just a simple demonstration. What can we also do in our M365? And after that, we will finally learn what are agents in M365 and what they matter. As you can see, we are getting our pictures just with this simple generate simple picture for M365 agent. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words, and you are getting a nice picture to work with. So this is the powerful M365, as you can see. And now you can even use designer to edit text or edit this picture. So the most important part of this course is when you activate your M365 business premium, for example, trial, and you add your Copilot add-on, it will take 24 hours to generate all settings. First, you will have something called schedule prompt. Then you will have something called Research and Analyst agent. And then after 24 hours, you will get a full experience with your M365. Now it's time to hit on a new lesson and learn what are agents in Microsoft 365 and why they matter. Now it's time for Module 3. In this module, we will learn what are agents and why they matter. First, we will see what are the pre-built agents, and then we will use Researcher and Analyst agents. So, first, let's learn what are agents. Now we get to the core of this course. Agents. An agent is a specialized assistant designed for a specific purpose. Instead of asking a general chat to do everything, an agent focuses on one job and does it consistently. Think of an agent as a reusable setup. It can include instructions about tone and structure, and it can be connected to the information it needs. That means you don't need to have to repeat the same context every time you ask a question. Agents are useful for personal productivity, but they become even more powerful in teams. When everyone uses the same agent, everyone gets consistent outputs, which improves quality and saves times. With chat, you're writing the setup every time. With an agent, you write the setup once and then reuse it. This is why agents are a productivity multiplier, especially for recurring tasks like onboarding, standard reports, customer responses, or internal Q&A. Think about any questions you answered every week. What changed since last meeting? What are the actions items? Can you summarize this document for a client? If you turn that into an agent with the right instructions and format, you save time every single time you use it, and your answers become more consistent. Now, as you can see in the previous chapter, there are some different agents. In the next chapter, we will use pre-built agents, and we already saw how can we use idea coach. In some of the previous chapter, we already saw how can we work with some pre-built agents. But now let's take a deep dive and see how can we use the pre-built agents. And this time we are using M365 Premium, Business Premium subscription with full experience. So we have our add-on Copilot chat. So, pre-built agents are the easiest way to start. They are created for a specific task and are designed to be used immediately. When you are new, the best approach is to choose one agent, use a starter prompt, and look at the structure of the response. Then you can refine your prompt by adding context and asking for a specific format. So, you can, for example, choose your agent. You can use for research, you can use researcher, or you can use analyst. If your goal is to writing or summarizing a general Copilot chat experience, may be enough. Also, remember, pre-built agents are not better than custom agents. They are just ready-made. They are ideal when you want quick value and no pattern, especially as a beginner. Later, when you notice you repeat the same prompt and the same context and over, that is your signal to build a custom agent. A simple rule is, if you have typed the same prompt 3 times this week, you probably need an agent. Agents are about removing repetition and making good results easier to reproduce. If we, for example, now go to next slide, you will see this prompt for pre-built agents. For example, you can use this prompt. Let me just copy this prompt and let's go to our, this is from last time, let's go to our M365 Copilot chat. We will start a new chat and we will, for example, choose this or copy this chat, and let's hit on generate. So list the 3 pre-built agents in Microsoft 365 Copilot and explain why the beginner should use each. Keep the explanation concise and practical. And you can see that we are getting a response that these pre-built agents in Microsoft 365 are very important and when a beginner should use each. Research, Analyst and Facilitator. The first one we will see in the next chapter. And here, as you can see, when do you want to use this one? First, the best written output for scattered info is researcher. If you need meaning from numbers, analyst, and need better meetings and reliable actions, facilitator is using only and working only in teams. And now you can use some follow-up search and you can use this starter prompt for some different agents. But if I go to all agents, you can see that in our Microsoft 365 we have some different agents. This is my agents. We have researcher, analyst. This is my custom agent. We have PowerPoint, Microsoft 365 admin, Excel, Word, and Forms. This is all built by Microsoft, as you can see, and you can use all this agent. We already learned about idea coach. You can use some different agents. As you can see, there are a lot of agents that you can use, and you can play around with these agents if you have full Copilot. As you can see, if you have full Copilot license. And now let's, for example, use some of these pre-built agents. Let's use, for example, writing coach. I will click on add to add this agent. This is a pre-built agent, do not forget, and this is a writing coach. So for the writing coach, I can, for example, help change me the tone of an email or message from professional language to a more casual tone. Let's hit on enter. And I'm getting responses in Serbian. I will now change this and tell my Copilot to speak on English now. As you can see, now my agent is speaking on English. As you can see, this is our common phrase conversions. Dear John is formal expression, more casual expression is alternative. Dear John, hi John, I hope this message you found well. Hope you're doing well. I would like to inform you that just wanted to let you know, please file attach, I have attached, and so on and so forth. This is, for example, transformation. We have this formal version and more casual version. The first one is, Dear John, I hope this message finds you well. I would like to inform you that the report has been completed, and so on. And the more casual tone is, Hi John, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to let you know that the report is ready. As you can see, the differences between these two variation, formal and more casual version. Then in the fourth step, we when to use a casual tone, so we'll get our explanation. A casual tone is appropriate when, and then communicating with colleagues and or internal teams and so on, and a more formal tone is still recommended for first-time communication with clients. Then you get a practical tip, and you can also use these follow-up prompts to get more information. So this is how can you, for example, work with one of your agents. This was, if I remember, writing coach. So we have also learning coach, for example. I can add also this. Let me go to here and learn a new language. For example, please guide me in learning a new language. Let's hit one more time, and as you can see, and we are getting a clear actionable system that you can follow up, not just theory. And as you can see, we need to define our goal. What are we learning? This is work, emails, meetings, travel, content creation, or target travel. Level is basic, conversation, professional, and so on. So you need to decide what are you want to learn. And finally, I want to learn Spanish, for example, and I will use, of course you can use more structured prompts, but this is just a simple example. And for example, I want to learn Spanish, and now we are getting more the whole plan, how to use and what to learn in the first 2 weeks, and so on and so forth. And we are getting some hola, hello, necesito, I need, quiero, I want, trabajo, work, and so on and so forth. Aprender, to learn, explicar, to explain, and that's it. Now we can even go more further. Presente en 3 frases en español, and so on and so forth. And now you can use this agent to help you write something on English. For example, we can go and type, for example, let me type something like Los Angeles Rams or something like that, and we can let me go and copy one of something from here on English, and now we can use our learning coach and for example we can add a role. Let's add act as a Spanish language teacher, and after translation summarize this for a 10 your old kid, for example. And then you can translate this to Spanish, the whole text, and then we need to summarize this translation for a 10-year-old kid, for example. As you can see, this is our transaction, or traducción, or sorry, translation, and this is a simple summary for a 10-year-old kid, all in Spanish. And you can now see all this. So you can use the different pre-built agents. You can use, if you go to all agents and simply play around with this, you can use one of these. Career coach, for example. Let's try career coach. And help me create a detailed career development plan based on my current role and future goals. Let me hit on enter, and we will see as you can see my current position, and it gives me the full plan for my future business, for example. And this is, as you can see, the no BS version. And finally, it used some important step. So you can play around with these pre-built agents. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next chapter. Now it's time to explain the Researcher agent. This is a deep research helper that will teach safe and structured prompting. So Researcher is a special agent for deep research. You can use it to when the task is complex and requires multiple steps, like comparing options, building a strategy, or writing a structured report. The key output difference is structure. Instead of quick answer, Researcher is designed to produce and organize a report. This is why it can feel slower than basic chat, but it often saves time overall because the result is more complete. When you prompt Researcher, make your goal clear. Tell it what decision you are trying to make, what sources you want it to consider, and what format you need, such as one-page report with headings and a short conclusions. A good beginner trick is to ask Researcher to show you its outline first. For example, before you write full report, propose the headings and questions you will answer. The way you can confirm it is researching the right thing, and you save time by correcting directions early before it generates a long report. And then once the outline looks good, you can add constraints like keep it in one page, or write it for a non-technical audience, or finish with a recommendation. Those small instructions make the output much more usable. Now we will see how can we use Researcher agent in our M365. Of course, just like always, you have this option and you can try research the pros and cons of adopting Microsoft 365 Copilot for a small business. Produce a one-page report with headings and short recommendations at the end. This is our example prompt, and in the pro tip you have, after running this prompt, you will improve it by adding some context, who the output is for, the desired format like table, bullets, and a constraint like keep it under 150 words. Once again, we are in our m365.cloud.microsoft. Let me go directly to Research Agent, as you can see. And if you want to use this Research and Analyst agents, you must have the full experience of Copilot, of course. If I go to all agents, you can click it here, as you can see, or you can simply go to Research Agent, and now you can choose, for example, some of these suggested prompts, for example. And now we can use our... So I will make this simple, of course, this prompt, and finally let me go here and paste this, and you can use sources. I will use, for example, only web, as you can see, and you can use Microsoft 365, you can use chats, emails, meetings, or SharePoint. For now I will use only web. This is our source, as you can see, and of course you can add your own document if you want. Let's hit on enter, and now Researcher, as you can see, is lining things up, and as you can see, now the agent asked me, and finally, as you can see, I see you want me to research the pros and cons of adopting M365 Copilot for a small business and present it one-page report with a recommendation. To make sure I cover what you need, what's the best describe the small business. As you can see, from 1 to 10 employees, 11 to 50, or 51 to 100 employees. Should the analyst assume a specific Microsoft 360 plan? A business standard, business premium, C, not sure, compare generally. There are priorities I should emphasize: cost and ROI, product gains, security, compliance, change. Just say go ahead, and I will use my best. You can choose if you want your report length, and you can choose between short and long. So, for example, I will choose A, and now you can use, for example, short, and I will now answer this. For the first request, use A. For the second, use B, for example, and for the third, use D. And let's use our researcher. So it takes time to get our plan, to get our research, to finish this job, of course, and I will go back here and continue when this finish. Of course, you can add a more specific prompt. You can add, as I already told you, prompts that define your goal, your own document, some chat, some other things, but I want to keep it very simple, and we are just want to see how can research agent, how can we use research agent in our daily task. So in the next chapter we will use our analyst agent. As you can see, it will make a few minutes to complete the report, and we will see when the researcher finishes this job. And we're still waiting for a researcher agent to finish that task. In the meantime, we will see what is an analyst agent. So analyst agent is a specialized agent for data analysis. You can use it when you have a data set like a spreadsheet or a CSV, and you want to insights such as trends, outliers, or summaries. First, you need to tell analysts what the dataset represents. Second, ask clear questions like what are the top trends. Third, ask for a short list of actions or recommendations based on the insight. Another practical tip, always ask analysts to explain assumption in plain English. If it computes something like an average trend or ranking, explain have you calculated this and what this means for a business user. This keeps a lesson accessible and prevents black box outputs that beginners cannot trust. Also, don't be afraid to ask for a sanity check. Does anything in this dataset looks unusual or inconsistent? Analyst is great at spotting missing values, strange spikes, or columns that do not match the story. Things that people often miss when they rush. Of course, if you want to use analyst, researcher, or analyst agent, you must be aware that only 25 times in 1 month you can use both of this agent combined. So, in a yearly basis, you can use researcher and analyst agent only 300 times. So, be careful when you plan or when you want to use these agents. Let's see how can we work with analyst agent. And now let's see how can we work with analyst agent. As you can see, I have one of my sample table here. This is our sample table. And finally, I have this on my desktop. As you can see, on my desktop computer, I will now add my table. This is our Excel table 1, and we will use this prompt, this example prompt from our slide. Let me paste it here, and we are using now analyst agent to analyze the data set of monthly sales by region. We want to identify the top 3 trends, explain them in plain English, and suggest 2 actions a sales manager should take next. Let me hit on enter. And now we are waiting our analyst agent to perform all actions. As you can see, we can use this coding and executing to see what analyst agent actually do. It uses Python, as you can see, and you can track all these actions here. Of course, it takes some time to generate all these options, and we are waiting to get the result of our analyst agent. In the meantime, let's go to our research agent. And let me just go back to one of our previous chat, and you can see that our research agent is finished his job and reasoning completed in 44 steps. If you click on this arrow, you can see what was the step for this researcher. He was used first beginning research, considering report requirements, structuring report content, highlighting and 365 Copilot features, and so on. So you can see it was 44 steps. It was used 44 steps, and then we have our report, as you can see, in tables, and you can see all these citations, what research agent was using in this deep research. So we are using only web sources, as you can see, and all other information. And finally, this is our recommendation, and you can convert this to Word document. If you click on Word document, and our draft is ready. We can open this in Word, and just like that we can continue. This is our result, and we can continue working with our Copilot in our M365 application. So you can see that we can choose between different models. We can choose GPT or Claude, and finally we can continue to refine this document, and you can see what sources it was used for this. And that's it. This is how can you use Researcher Agent. Of course, this was just a simple demonstration based on web sources. You can use it for more granular approach in your work IQ, for your documents in your own environment, and so on. And you can, for example, if you're not satisfied with this, you can always go and edit this with Copilot, auto rewrite, make it shorter, structure, and refine. Let's see, for example, here, what can we do with rewrite? So we are using our Researcher Agent to once again lining these things up, and you can even more granular for if you're not satisfied with your current document. So we are getting updated text, and finally, if you are happy, click on done, and you will get a new option. If you go back to our Microsoft, our analyst is complete. Let's view our chat, and it was using 46 steps in reasoning, 10 for checking the dataset. I reviewed the Excel file carefully and want to be very clear about what it does and what does not contain. First, as you can see, an important clarification, and then top 3 trends, just as we ask, and as you can see, the full report of our analyst. And of course, we are getting our table and all other stuff. So this is the sources that you use. This is our Excel table. And finally, we can ask our researcher to, for example, create a dashboard for my Excel file, for example, and then your analyst will generating a response, but you can be more precise if you want. This was just a simple demonstration of how can you use analyst agent, and as you can see, analyst agent is now once again using our starting document, using Python code to prepare our dashboard for this Excel file. I didn't was specific what I want to be on this dashboard, so once the analyst finish this, we will get our full dashboard based on this Excel file. Thank you for watching, and I hope you are satisfied with this demonstration. I am trying to keep this very as you can see, if I go to my presentation, this is just example prompt, very simple, and so we can learn more. And as you already know, after lesson, you have these prompts, these example prompts to try it. This is just a simple prompt, and then you can run this if you want to add more pro tip to running the prompt by improve your prompt, improve your result by adding these your output, context, desired format, and constraints. So let me just go back to my, as you can see, this is our dashboard. Of course, it was in Serbian, but if I, for example, download this and open in our viewer, you can see how it looks like. Of course, this is on Serbian because I didn't ask Researcher to put this in English. But as you can see, this is our sales by product, sales by salesman, and status distribution. Of course, you can use this for your meetings and so on. And this is graph one by salesman, transaction, and so on. So this is on Serbian. And then you can, for example, go even more further to create, for example, by using these follow-up prompts to create Excel dashboard with pivot tables. You can add filters by date and production. You can create Power BI dashboard, for example, and so on. So really, if you want to use Analyst Agent, use it. But just remember, Researcher plus Analyst Agent equals 25 times. You can use it by month or 300 times by 1 year. Thank you for watching. Now it's time for module 4. In the previous module, number 3, we take a deep dive on pre-built agents, on two most important agents like Researcher or Analyst Agent. In module 4, we will see how can we build a custom agent. For example, Agent Builder, OneDrive, or SharePoint agent. But before that, let's learn what is a custom agent. Well, there is something called Agent Builder. This is the fastest way to build an agent because you can describe what you want in plain language. The most important design rule is focus. A good beginner agent has one job. For example, help me write better prompts, or help me new team members understand our policies. If you try to build an agent that does everything, it will be inconsistent and confusing. After the first version is created, you can test your agent with realistic questions, refine the instructions, and only then you can share it with others. This is the same approach you would use for any tool you want or a team to trust. When you design your first agent, think like a product designer. What questions should the user ask? What is the best output format? And what should the agent refuse to do? For example, if the agent is a policy helper, it should not guess. It should say, I don't see that in the provided documents. If it is a prompt coach, it should ask one clarifying question when the result is vague or vague. Even a simple rule, like if you're not sure, ask one clarifying question, makes a beginner agent feel much smarter and more reliable. And the more consistent the structure is, the more the user will trust it. Now, in the next slide, you can see our example prompt. For example, we can use this create an agent called prompt coach that help beginners write clear prompts. It should ask clarifying questions and suggest improved prompts in a friendly, professional tone. Let's go to our agent builder. Once again, we are in our M365 cloud.microsoft/chat, and after we look at how can we work with pre-built agents, with two most important agents like Researcher and Analyst, it's time to see how can we create our custom agents. If you can find the agents that you need, you can create your own agents. If I go to new agent, you can see that you can build and save your time. Build an agent and save your time. We can, for example, click to configure, and we are now waiting for our agent, as you can see. First, there is a two-way that you can create your agent. You can configure by describe your agent and the Copilot will do the rest, or you can add your agent step by step by using all these features. The first thing I want to do is to show you how can you create your agent with a simple prompt. If you go to describe options, we will use our sample prompt. Create an agent called prompt coach that helps beginners write clear prompts. It should ask clarifying questions and suggest improved prompts in a friendly, professional tone. That's it. Let's hit enter, and we are waiting for our Copilot to finish building our first agent based on natural language processing, as you can see, based on this prompt. Then, as you can see, the agent prompt coach is now set up to help beginners with clear prompts. It will ask clarifying questions to better understand your user goals, suggest improved, more efficient, effective prompts, maintain a friendly and professional tone throughout. You can use prompt coach to refine your prompts, get feedback, and learn best practices. When ready, create your agent using the create button at the top right here, and this is our button. And first, let's test it. I will now go back to our previous agent. So we lost our agent. Let me just, we didn't save this, so we will once again go to configure this and add the same prompt. So we are once again using our prompt, simple prompt. I made a mistake, sorry about that, but let's wait until our agent is finished. And finally, as you can see, we are getting exactly the same agent with exactly the same prompt. Now, if I go to our left side of my screen, as you can see, this is our prompt coach. It describes help beginners write clear, effective prompts by asking clarifying questions and suggesting improvements in a friendly, professional tone. Then we have our instructions. Purpose is to enable users, especially beginners, to craft clear, specific, and effective prompts for conversational AI or other generative tools. There is a general guidelines to maintain a friendly and professional tone, make users feel comfortable sharing their ideas regardless, and so on. And for the skills, you can see that we specify, we add this to identity vague, ambiguous, or incomplete parts of a prompt, ask a specific clear questions, and this is a step-by-step instructions. Read the user initial prompt, and this is instructions that we created with our Copilot. So using a describe options with just simple prompt, you can build your agent. And now we have this example 1, example 2, of course, closing and follow up. Then we can also use these options, but for now we have our suggested prompts. We can use some capabilities to create document charts or more, or create images. I will simply, if you want to add more prompts, you can add more suggested prompts. Let's try our agent. Click on try it, and now I can use some of my suggested prompts. Let me hit on this and hit on enter. And as you can see, our agent, we ask our agent, I'm not sure if my prompt is clear enough. Can you review it? Absolutely, I can review it. Please paste the prompt you're using or planning to use. Once you share it, it will point our prompt. Let me just copy the prompt that we use to create our agent, and let's see what answers are we getting. So as you can see, our prompt coach is analyzing our prompt, and we are getting the full response. As you can see, great starts, your prompt is clear in intent, but it can be more specific and actionable, especially for beginners and for consistent agent behavior. Below is a structure review followed by an improved version. And you can see how can we, what are we accomplished with our prompt, and where it's a bit unclear or incomplete. So here, this is improved version of our prompt, and you can copy your prompt and you get your explanation why this version works better, define behavior orders, and so on and so forth. As you can see, now you can continue to chat with your prompt and with your agent and so on and so forth. And once you are happy, you can click on create your agent, and you are creating your agent. As you can see, we need to keep this window open until creation is completed. And if I click on share, you can share this prompt coach agent with anyone in your organization. If you want to see with, for example, CJ Daniels, I can share it with CJ Daniels if I want, or simply I can share it with anyone in my organization. I can copy this link and add this link, or if I want to keep this only for me. Let's hit on go to agent, and our prompt coach is now here. And you can use prompt coach, as you can see, created by me. If I go to all agents, you can see prompt coach right from here. Of course, if I click on these three dots, you can read more about this agent. You can share this agent, pin this agent, or edit, or simply uninstall. It really depends on your need. So this is how can you create your agent and how can you publish your agent. Now, with a simple prompt, and that's it. Thank you for watching. Now, in previous chapter, I already showed you how can you create an agent by a simple prompt using describe options. We have another option, how can you use agent builder and build your agent step by step. So this is a complete walkthrough how to create, configure, test, and share a beginner training agent. We will create a training agent that teaches the basic agent of Microsoft 365 Copilot. This is a perfect example for beginners because it shows how instructions, tone, and structure produce consistent outputs. While we build, pay attention to the pattern. Define the purpose, define the audience, define the output style, then test. This is the same pattern you will reuse for any agent that you create. At the end, we will share our agent with a small group. Sharing is useful for feedback, but this is not the same as publishing to the whole organization. So I already show you how can you create your agent and how can you share it. During the walkthrough, I will intentionally move slowly and explain why each field exists. Name, description, and instructions are not admin paperwork. They are user experience. A clear description reduces the wrong usage, and clear instructions and reduce random answers. This is how you build agent that people actually trust and reuse. And if you want for building for a team, this matters even more. Users will not read long documentation, but they will read the short description and the startup prompts. So we will treat those fields like front door of your agent. Let's go to our test agent, and we will use this simple walkthrough to learn more about our agent. If you can see, we will use this is our configuration for agent 101 tutor, for example, and we will use this name, description, and all these steps. So let's go to our M365. Well, now it's time to see our advanced example of how can we build step-by-step custom agents in our agent builder. But before that, if I go to my file, OneDrive, and if I hit on create upload, click on upload files, I just uploaded my, let me just expand this Microsoft Certified AI Business Professional, as you can see, document. This is a document that we will use as our knowledge base. So as you can see, Copilot is follow you everywhere, in Word, in OneDrive, and so on. So let me go back to my chat. This is my premium version. This is full experience. And now we will go to new agent, and skip to configure. Here in the previous chapter, we already saw how can we create a new agent based on the prompt. How can we describe our agent, and it will create a simple agent. But now I want to go step by step. Here I already prepared the full text and everything that I want to use, and first we need to add the name for our agent. Let me click on this little pen. I will delete this, paste this, and that's it. This is the name of our agent. Then we need to add the next option. This is, we need to describe what our agents are going to do. As you can see, this is a learning assistant designed for help users prepare for the Microsoft Applied Skills AB 73 exam or Microsoft certification. It provides explanation, questions, and practical scenarios about M365 Copilot concept. Then, as you already know, we need to add our instructions. Here I prepared a very detailed instruction, and let me first copy the full instruction, and we will paste it here, and we will see you are an AI learning coach specialized for users to prepare for the Microsoft. This is not applied skills anymore. This is Microsoft exam. Let me just delete these applied skills. Copilot for productivity. Your goal is to help users understand core concept, practice real-world scenarios, and improve readiness for the exam. Follow the guidelines. We want that we have always explained concept clearly and in simple terms. When possible, provide practical examples related to Microsoft 365 tools such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, and Copilot. Offer step-by-step guidance when explaining how features work. Ask follow-up questions to test the user's understanding. Provide short quizzes when the user requests practice. Simulate the real exam scenarios when appropriate. Number 7, keep answers concise but detailed enough for understanding, and avoid the necessary technical jargons and let the user ask for deeper explanations. Then we added more instructions. For example, when user asks for practice, provide 3 to 5 questions, mix multiple choice and scenario based on questions, so it will be A, B, C, or D, for example, and give me correct answers with explanations after the user response. When explaining Copilot, focus on business productivity, highlight practice use cases, explain how users interact with Copilot and real scenarios. If the user uploads a document, use it as a knowledge source, summarize, explain, or extract key learning points. And tone, I want to this coach be professional but friendly, encourage and supportive, and act as a personal coach. That's it. This is our instructions. Then in the knowledge base, I can now add my, we need to go to cloud, and just I will choose this document and click on select. As you can see, we are now adding our Word document as our knowledge base, and it is located in OneDrive. Of course, if you want to use these capabilities, you can analyze data, graph, math, equations, and so on. I won't do that. I want just to keep these create images capabilities. And finally, let's add our suggested prompts. I already prepared some prompts. Let me add this here, and I will add a title. Just let me add one more suggested prompt. And then we will add a title. For example, M365 in simple terms. Then here, give me a quiz, for example. And here, how Copilot works. And finally, we will be able to create our coach. But before that, if we scroll up, you can see that we can option to edit this icon, and you can upload your icon, browse for icon, or generate from agent details. Let's hit here, and AI or Copilot is now generating an image for our AB730 coach. Let's wait a little, and it uses our document as a reference to generate appropriate image for our agent. As you can see, you can describe your icon if you want. If you're not happy, I'm happy with this icon. And finally, when our image is generated, let's click on apply, and as you can see, this image is now part of our coach. We can try this agent, or even better, let's now hit create, and we can simply go to our agent. And just like that, this is our AB730 coach. You can see that we have this predefined suggested prompt. You can upload your own image, or you can upload even your document. And let's test our prompt. Give me 3 AB730 practice question. Let me paste here, and let's see what our coach, our new agent, can do. As you can see, he's searching for our document, This is our knowledge base, and you can see, great, here are 3 AB730 Microsoft 365 Copilot practice question, and write an example style or format aligned here. And now you can answer. For example, here is, let me try 1B. Let's answer on another question. Let me just read this. I will now, for example, add some wrong answer just to see how it looks like. And let's hit on enter to check our answers. Now AB730 coach is checking our answer, and as you can see, question 1 is correct, question 2 is incorrect. This is, of course, intentional, and then question C is correct. Our score is 2 or 3, solid progress. So you can simulate a real AB730 mini exam questionnaire and so on. Now let's try to generate a picture. For example, generate a simple picture using AB730 document. Let's see what are we getting. And as you can see, our agency is capable to create our image, because we, in the capabilities, if you remember, we toggle that little switch to create pictures. And let's wait a little. And that's it. This is our picture based on our document. It's so easy to use agents, and it really simplifies daily task, and that's it. And this is our picture. So you can open this picture in Designer and create or crop and haze, create anything you want, or you can download. Let me just go back to our agent, and I will hit on these 3 little dots and click on edit. For example, if I go to edit, you can see that you can refine your coach. You can change whatever you want, add some new instruction, add some new knowledge base. For example, you can toggle this to add more capabilities or add more options. Finally, if you're happy with your coach and if you want to give this agent more capabilities, simply click on these 3 dots and click copy to Copilot Studio, or if I click on download, we are downloading our coach, our agent, in zip file. If I open this file on my machine, you can see that we have our color, declarative agent, manifest, and outline. This is a simple JSON file. If I open this file in, for example, you can see how it looks like. This is a simple agent that we just open in our Visual Studio Code. So you can see what is the version. It is working on GPT model, and so on and so forth. So this is how can you create and edit and download your agent. Of course, you can upload this zip file on some different environment and continue to use this coach. This is how can you expert your coach. If you want to look more granular or edit your coach, you can copy this to Copilot Studio and continue to work on your coach. Hope this was helpful. See you in another lecture. Now that we have our agent, we already talked about how can we share our agent, of course. The first step is usually sharing. Sharing means that you grant access to specific people or groups so they can use this agent. This is great for collaboration. You can ask teammates to try this agent, report confusing answers, and suggest improvements. As the owner, you can refine the instructions and knowledge sources over time. But for now, this agent is only available to you. The best practice is to small with a share group of people first, as I already mentioned. When you share your agent, you also give a users instructions of how to use it, and you can do it in one sentence. For example, use this agent when you want a summary or project updates across action items and open questions, for example, or use this AB 730 coach for as your learning assistance when you're preparing for this Microsoft certification or exam. Then that small instruction dramatically improves our adoption because people do not need to guess what the agent is for. If you want to go one step further, also give them one example questions to copy, because the first successful experience is what makes people come back and use this again. If I click on share, if you remember, you can see you can share this agent to anyone in your organization. Use specific user in your organization or only you. Of course, you need to first grant a permission for this knowledge, and this agent will only respond with knowledge that each user has access to, of course. And that's it. This is how can you share your agent. It's really, really easy, and I will see you in the next. Well, in this lesson we moved from chat-based agents to file-based agents. Agents in OneDrive are designed to help you work faster with your files. You can select a set of files or folders, and the agent becomes a reusable helper for that content. This is very useful for beginners because it solves a common problem. I have many files and I do not want to open them one by one. Instead, you ask the agent for summaries, action items, or quick answers. A key safety rule is that agent respect your permissions. If you share an agent with someone, they will only get full answers if they have also full access to the files inside your agents. That is how Microsoft keeps content protected. So, for the best results, you keep your file selection focused. If the agent covers one project folder, it will answer with much better or high precision than if you select everything. Start with a small set of files, validate answers, and only then expand the scope if you truly need it. A very practical approach is to begin with 3 to 5 goal documents, like the project's overview, the latest status report, and the current plan, and test it with questions. For example, what are the top risks or what changed since last week? If the answers look good, then you can add more files with confidence. So, if you want to, for example, go to our M365, I already opened our application. This is my SharePoint, and I have some site in this folder. In documents, I have, as you can see, 3 document, and let me just go back to my document, and here in these 3 dots I can go and click on 3 action, and I can create an agent. Here this is the name for this agent, for example, and then I can click on summarize the recent content, click on here, and then my agent will only summarize these 3 documents, as you can see. So we're getting the resources, we can agent preview, we are doing our agent preview, and as you can see, this is our recent files. And these files are in my folder. As you can see, this is my files in that folder. Of course, you can change your icon. You can add whatever icon you want and add some brief explanation. You can add your sources. Our sources is our files, our folder, sorry. And in the behavior, you can add to be professional, to write a concise email, and so on and so forth. And you can add more information to your agent. For example, you can define your agent's role, tone, limitations, just like instructions that we use when we create our agents in our builder agent, in our M365 Copilot, if you remember. And that's it. You simply click on create, and this is how can you create your agent for a group of files in SharePoint. Exactly the same thing you can do in your OneDrive. If I, for example, choose our knowledge base, this is our Microsoft Certified AI3 Business Professional, click on these three dots, I can use Copilot to summarize or to create an agent. If I click on create an agent, I am getting exactly the same option, and I can use this summarize this item. Exactly the same option in our that we saw in our SharePoint. Of course, you can also change your image, add your icon, choose a purpose, add your source. My source is right now this document. You can add a group document or folder, and you can also add your behavior, like agent instructions, starter prompt, welcome message, and simply click on create. And here it is. This is my summary of this document that we used in previous chapters. So you can, as I already told you, summarize the key updates across these projects, files, list the top file actions items with owners if they are mentioned. You can do a very lot of things. You can add your content, you can even attach your files here, or simply if you use slash, you can find different people and simply use this for search. That's it. This is how can you create your own project folder assistant, for example, or file assistant. It is very convenient for beginners, and if you have a really lot of documents in your SharePoint sites or your OneDrive. Thank you for watching, and I hope this was helpful. And finally, the last module in our course is module 5. In this module, we will talk about Copilot Studio. But first, let's find out what is a Copilot Studio. Well, as agent builder is great for quick and simple agents, but sometimes you need more. If you want a structured conversation, a clear user experience, or deployment into Microsoft 365 Copilot and Teams in a controlled way. There is a Copilot where Copilot Studio comes in. Well, Copilot Studio is a Microsoft platform for building, managing, and publishing agents. You can build an agent, test it, and then publish it to specific channels so users can discover it and use it. Think of a Copilot Studio as the engineering and release layer for agents. You use it when an agent needs to be more than a personal helper, where it should have a consistent experience, clear governance, and repeatable deployment path. For example, you might want approval versioning, control access, or publishing into Microsoft 365 Copilot so users can discover it. Even if you start small, learning Copilot Studio gives you the skills to scale an agent safely later. And also it helps you work like a professional, build a version 1, test it, publish to a Copilot group, improve, and only then roll it out widely. So let's go to our next lesson and build a simple agent in our Copilot Studio. Now we can build a Copilot Studio agent from scratch. The goal is not to build the biggest agent. The goal is to learn a repeatable process you can use again. In your material that I prepare for this course, there is an instruction how can you build a licensing helper agent that explains Microsoft 365 Copilot licensing in plain English. This is a great beginner example because it is common, practical, and easy to test. We will follow a circle, simple circle. First, we will create the agent, add our knowledge, test it, refine it, publish it, and then connect it so users can use it in the Microsoft 365 Copilot experience. As we build, you will notice the order. Purpose first, then instructions, then knowledge. And this is very important because many beginners do it backwards, adding knowledge sources first without defining behavior, and then they get inconsistent answers. A well-written instruction block is the foundation. A knowledge source only make it smarter after the foundation is solid. So if you feel that your agent is random, don't immediately add more files. First, tighten the instructions and test again. In practice, clear instructions solve most quality issues much faster than throwing more knowledge at the agent. So, as I started to plan this walkthrough, I already prepared for you a little help, and this is licensing helper. You can create your own agent, create your own knowledge base, and simply use these steps. But for now, I will use exactly the same method that I use when we created our first agent in our agent builder, step by step. I will use exactly the same steps, exactly the same knowledge base. And for now, you can try licensing helper if you want. So let's hop to our Microsoft Copilot Studio and see how it looks like. Welcome back, and before we go to our Copilot Studio, I will go just to my M365 Copilot and I will delete my agent that I created in my step-by-step example. But first, let me just see why this is not working. Let me just again refresh this, and finally I can uninstall my AB730 coach. If I now go to my all agents, I don't have my AB730 coach. Okay, now that we know how we can create our coach, to create, a simple agent in our agent builder, let's hop to next step. If you go to copilotstudio.microsoft.com, you will see that we are now in Copilot Studio. And now I get this message that we are updated to the latest version of Microsoft Copilot Studio. As you can see, the new feature is GPT-5 is now generally available for European and United States regions. It supports for multi-agent orchestration to tackle complex tasks, SharePoint metadata filters to refine knowledge retrieval. So I will click on Got it, and you can see all other information. So this is our Copilot Studio, and from here you can build your agents. You can of course build your flows and so on and so forth. Let me go to my agent. option, and right from here you can see that I have one agent that I built in previous days. Let me first click on create blank agent, and right from here I can add the name for my agent. I will use exactly the same name as I did for previous example, and I will add my AB730 coach. It is very important to add a name. So just like in Azure, if you remember, naming convention is very important. Let me just expand this option. You can choose your language. I will choose my English United States. Solution is common data, service default solution, schema, and if you want, you can share with your team. And let's hit on create. So we are building our agent from scratch. As you can see, we are getting things ready. This is a message from Copilot studio.microsoft.com. And finally, this is our agent. As you can see, this feature isn't available until our agent finishing setting up. So we need to wait for a few seconds. And as you can see, in the right part of my screen here, we are getting test our agent, and hello, I am AB730 coach, how can I help? This is a welcoming message. Finally, this green here means that our agent has been provisioned. Now I want to add more. If I scroll down, let me just first go step by step. We will first add a name for our coach, for our agent. Then we will use our description. Let me copy this description, if you remember, and now I will simply paste it here. So we added our description, and let me click on save. Let me just refresh. And finally, our agent status. Let me see what is. We need to upgrade license to publish it, of course. Never mind. Let me just leave it as it is. Then in the select your agent model, here you have the option to choose what your agent will primarily use, what model for reasoning and responding. And finally, if I click here this drop-down menu, you can choose OpenAI models and Anthropic models. For example, you can choose GPT-5 Chat. It is great for most tasks. You can choose GPT-5 Auto, automatically switches between chat and reasoning. You can see we have our GPT-5 reasoning, GPT-4.1, great for most tasks and quick analysis. Then we have these Anthropic models like Claude Sonnet 4.5, 4.6, Opus, which is a great platform for deep reasoning and structure problem solving, Claude Opus 4.7. This is only experimental. But for our demonstration, GPT 4.1 is great, as you can see. Then we can now go to the next. So we added our description, name, description, select our model, and in the structure field, I will click on edit, and here we will paste this next big text files and paste it here. As you can see, just like in our agent builder, we need to find and describe instructions, what we want for this agent to do, tone, rules, and so on. So this is our rules, as you can see, exactly the same. You are an AI learning coach specialized in helping users prepare for the Microsoft 365 applied skills. I will now simply, let me just delete these applied skills. And finally, I will click on save to save these instructions. But let me just edit one more time and delete these applied skills and click on save. Finally, in the knowledge base, we can add data, files, and other resources to inform and improve our AI-generated responses. If I click on add knowledge, you can see that we have more options than in the previous chapter. For example, you can add public website, you can add some SharePoint powered by WorkIQ. Let me click, for example, public website. You can add your link for this website, add, and simply add this website to your knowledge. I will leave now this. Then we can choose a SharePoint site, for example. If I click on browse items, as you can see, I can go to my site, and if you remember, for this site we already created an agent. I can add some of these files, for example, as a knowledge base. Then we have more options. We have Azure AI search. If you have an Azure account and simply store your knowledge in your some databases in Azure or some different storage option, you can use AI search to provide and connect this to your knowledge to this agent. Of course, we can use Dataverse, Dynamic 365, Salesforce, ServiceNow, Azure SQL, or if you want, you can go advanced and use Snowflake, Databricks, Confluence, Oracle Database, SAP, OData, Zendesk, Azure Databricks, Virtual Data Platform, Bing Custom Search, and so on. And of course, you can drag and drop your own knowledge base or your document from your SharePoint or OneDrive. If I click on OneDrive, let me click on Browse Files. And from here, I can add my file for this. This is Microsoft Certified AI Business Professional AB730. I will choose this file once again, confirm the selection, and of course, you can change this name and description. I will click on Add to Agent. And after some time, we will be adding our drive, our knowledge base to this agent. So we need to wait for a little, and as you can see, our knowledge base is added. We're getting an error here. Let me just see what error we have here. To be honest, I don't know what errors are we getting here, so I will disable web search for this agent or public websites. And finally, in the tools option, we can add tool to empower the AI to complete specific task for the improved engagement. For example, you can simply click on enable this, and you can add your tool for different data source, for example, for your work IQ. That means that all messages, email, team chats, Outlook, emails, files from Excel, SharePoint, OneDrive, you can add right from here. Or simply, you can add your computer use, add new prompt, and so on and so forth. Also, we have connectors. As you can see how many connectors we have here. So you can use this connector to connect all of these to your agent. So as you can see how many tools or existing knowledge sources we have here. If you want to complete specific task, of course, then I will now disable this. We have triggers. You have option to set up your agent to activate when certain event happens. For example, you can add a trigger. If I click on add trigger, for example, every time when a new file is created or an email arrives in Outlook, let me hit on next, this trigger will be activated and you will get an email that or message that your email is here. Let me click on continue. And when you add in a trigger, you can manage how your agent responds to user input and external inputs. So this feature is a paid option and it will consume message, for example, and you need to choose when a new mail arrives. And finally, you need to be signed in to your Microsoft Copilot Studio and Office Outlook. Let me hit on next. And here you need to add, for example, what folder, when, what do you want to use. For example, if I click here, you can add where do you want to. Let me hit on inbox, for example, when the new mail arrives, it will be on our inbox. Let me click on create so we can add this trigger, and then we need to add in our instructions every time when I receive email, this trigger will be used. Let me click on close. As you can see, we now have this trigger. Of course, you can add a child agent if you want. You can create your child agent and you can connect external partners if you want. If you click of a new child agent, as you can see, we are now in this different tab, and here you can add your own agent that will be available if you want, for example, to have more in-depth agent. That agent can use child agent if you want to add some specific task, for example. And finally, we have topics. If I go here for topics, you can see that we have 4 custom topics and 9 system topics. You can see, you can delete these topics, but you can enable or disable them. For example, if I go to conversation topics, you can see that we have something called trigger, and finally you can set this trigger whatever you want. Finally, here is where we can use this variable. You can add this, for example, and change this. Hello, I am AB73 coach. How can I help? And for example, if you click on Windows and plus button, you can see that, sorry, we need to let me now just allow this. I don't know why is this popping up, but you can use here, for example, to change this. How can I help? And we can, for example, add another message, just like here, for example, hello. And if you, for example, click on your Windows laptop, simply click on Windows and type dot, and you will see that you have this emoji that you want to add. And for example, let me add this emoji, and if I, for example, click on save, you can see that if we try to create or test our agent, you will see that now we have our, for example, emoji here. And finally we can test our agent. For example, can you tell me what is AB7730? Let's see what we are getting. Let me click on allow, so we can connect to these services. And as you can see, we are getting these search sources, for example, and it's AB730 is a Microsoft certification exam, Microsoft Copilot for productivity, and so on and so forth. So you see how it looks like. As you can see, this is a query, reference sources. The response was generated by using general knowledge from LLM, and other sources search over is our document, as you can see. So if you, for example, click here, you will see that all these agents, and let's go back to our topic. You can see that you can add you can edit all these options, all this system topic, and it is edited by me, as you can see. If you go to custom, you can, for example, add a new topic, start from scratch. You can choose what kind of triggers do you want to add. For example, you can add what kind of topic this does. If you click on plus, you can, for example, create send message, ask a question, ask with adaptive cards, ask condition. You can even set a variable here. You can set a text variable. There is 3 types of variables: system, environment variable. You can add topic management, for example, add a tool. For example, you can add a new prompt from here. Here you can add a content, add some different things, choose a model, and add some model response. So the main option here, you can add a condition if you want. So if, for example, you can set a variable, you can have a custom variable or system variable. Let me add some, for example, activity variable from ID. You can is equal to, or you can select a variable. For example, you can use different types of variable, add new condition, and then if this equal to, for example, 300, then do that, and of course you can also copy this, delete, change to formula, reset a node, add, insert new condition. If you want to be equal, you can set different variables, and so on and so forth. So you can, as you can see, by creating this, of course you need to add a name if you want. By creating this variable, these variables, these custom topics, you can add and build this agent and create this agent in something more than simply coach. You can create a chatbot and something else. If you want to, of course you need to save this. I don't want to get into topics right now, and of course if I, for example, go to blank, you can use Copilot to generate your topic. For example, you need to write a description of what you like the agent to cover, and then Copilot will create your topic. Of course, there is a lot that you can do here. If I go to settings here, I will leave this. We can see that we can use this orchestration. For example, if you want to use generative AI orchestration for your agent responses, you can choose off by for deep reasoning. You can add connected agents, choose your model, choose your responses if you want, like formatting, specify the format and file, and so on and so forth. There is a lot of things that you can do here, and of course you can add your knowledge and allow grounded responses, file processing, and use search. Finally, if I go to entities, there is an option to choose and work with different entities. As you can see, this is some pre-built entities that you can use to build your agent. If I, for example, click on age, you can see that you can add, if you want and need this entity, for age of a person, place, of things, extract as a number. So you can see this is a method, is pre-built. You can add some user input. I am 19 years old, entity is 19 years old, and say value is 19. And it is added in the way of table. You can create even your own entity, for example. You can use new entity. We have closed list and a regex or regular expression list. You can see that, for example, if you need to define the specific logical patterns such as ID number, credit card number, IP address, and more. And we have closed list. If I, for example, click on a closed list, you need to add a name, description, choose smart matching, add name for your item, and, for example, upload here and add a different item, and your entity will be added here on this list, and you can use it. Of course, you can use skills if you want. As you can see, skills extend your agent conversational capabilities by automating a series of actions within the topic. You can choose your voice option, enable, you can choose a language, and so on and so forth. So you can even change your name from here, change an icon. If I click on change icon, I can click here and upload my own icon if I want. So there is a lot of things that you can need to add here, but be aware, if you're creating your agent from scratch, and if you have this business premium license with full Copilot add-on, you will see you have this agent builder and you have this Copilot Studio. But for premium, for more than this, you need to have a premium license, as you can see. And as you can see, this agent uses premium features, and we need to go to premium for this, and that's it. Now I can publish this, but I just wanted to show you how can you create an agent from scratch. And as you can see, our building coach is here, and I will now simply delete this name, this agent. Let me just permanently delete this agent. And as you can see, we are deleting our AB730 coach. So this is how can you work with your agent from scratch. Just use this example from your slide. Thank you for watching, and that's it. Well, if you didn't know, you can use this example prompt to create your own agent in Copilot Studio. So, for example, if you don't have any developer skills, or you don't know how to you are not good with coding, you can simply use this example prompt and create a whole new agent for you. And this will create, of course, the whole new agent for you. For example, this example prompt you can try. You are an HR onboarding assistant for Contoso Ltd. When a new employee asks a question, answer using only the official employee handbook and benefits stored in SharePoint. Greet the employee by name, provide a clear step-by answer, and with a link to the relevant SharePoint page. If the answer is not the book, say, I'll connect you with a HR specialist. Always respond with a friendly, professional tone, and that's it. This is the whole process. Let me now copy this prompt. We're using official prompt from Microsoft, and what we need to do is to simply paste this prompt here, and you can see that if I click on enter, we are creating our new agent just from our prompt. So I'm using this prompt from official Microsoft pages. As you can see, just like in our agent builder, when you describe your agent, just like here, just like there, we are building our onboard HR assistant, and this agent uses premium features, so you need to upgrade the license to publishing. But never mind, just wanted to show you that you can provision your agent simply on your prompt. As you can see, description is this agent helps new employees at Contoso Ltd by answering onboarding question using the official employee handbook and benefits guideline from SharePoint, providing clear steps and links and escalating to HR if needed. So we are using our Claude Sonnet 4.6, and as you can see, instructions are very detailed. So we have a purpose, general guidelines, skills, ability to search and retrieve information from SharePoint documents, skills, step-by-step instructions. If answer is not found, greet the employees by name, respond with I'll connect to your HR assistant, and so on and so forth. And if you have an error, if SharePoint is unavailable, inform the employee I'm currently unable to access the handbook, I'll connect you with an HR specialist. And we have some interaction example 1 or 2, and always close with a helpful tone, and provide the SharePoint when this link is applicable. If escalating, reassure the employee that an HR specialist will assist them shortly. So this is our instructions. Okay, you can add some different instructions. And finally, this is our knowledge from contoso.com, as you can see, and this is our presentation from here. Web search is enabled. We don't have any work IQ, triggers, agents, topics, and we don't have any suggested prompts. If I click on suggest prompts, you can add, for example, any suggest prompts if you want here, and it will be available here. Let me cancel this. If I, for example, go to knowledge, you can add additional knowledge source. You can create your first tool. We have this to add the child agent. We have our topics, as you can see. So once again, we can edit our topic and add here different question or different message, and you can expand this. For example, ask a question, add a different variable, and so on and so forth. As you can see, if I once again go here and click on bot name, you can see that system bot name, this is our variable and this is our reference. So you can create a new variable if you want, check this all analysis and so on and so forth. You can track activity of your agent, check your evaluation, and finally we have analytics and channels. So all these options, most of these knowledge tools, agents or topics are already shown here. Finally, we can test our agents. And let's try, for example, to ask something and try this agent. For example, how do I enroll in health benefits? Let me send this prompt. And as you can see, you are getting a query, a response, and this is search sources. And I'm getting the response. As you can see, escaping to a representative is not currently configured for this agent. However, this is where the agent could provide information about how to get in touch with someone another way. Is there anything else I can help you? And it is working. As you can see, this is a system topic and it uses some different things. So you can ask another question if you want, but I guess this is enough for now. And if I go to publish, you can click on publish this agent. And you can, of course, publish your agent. And as you can see, if I go to my agent, we now have our onboarding agent that is published. And that's it. This is how can you create your own or build your own agent just from a simple prompt. You can start describing what your agent needs to do, and that's it. Thank you for watching. Well, in previous two examples, I already showed you how can you create an agent step by step, and how can you create an agent from a simple prompt in Copilot Studio. And I already told you about topics, variables, entities, and for example, adaptive cards. So in Copilot Studio, you can move beyond the simple question and answer experience and design a more guided conversation. To do that, you can use a few building blocks. So let's first now define what is a topic. Topic is a conversation path. It is a way to handle a common user request in a consistent way. Variables store information during the conversation, such as project name or a choice the user made. Entities represent key concepts the agent should recognize, like a product name, for example. Adaptive cards are especially useful for beginners because they make the conversation clearer. Instead of asking a user to type a long answer, you can give buttons or simple fields and store the resulting variables. In these terms, if these terms feel abstract right now, this is okay. The goal of this lesson is simply to recognize them and understand what problem each one solves. Topic guide the conversation, variables remembers, entity classify important things, and adaptive cards make input easier. Here, for example, is a quick real-life way to imagine it. The topic is the script, the variable is the sticky note where we remember your answer, the entity is the label that helps the agent recognize what you meant, and the card is the form that makes input simple. And that's it. These are only the building blocks help you move beyond a simple Q&A experience and design guided conversation. So in previous chapter, I already showed you how can you continue to build your agent, but I will now stop here, and in the next chapter we will learn what are connectors, flows, actions, triggers, and child connected agents. I will then stop there because this course is intended for beginners, and if you want to learn more about Copilot Studio, then you will have to know what are topics, variables, entities, and adaptive cards. So far, we focused on agents and answered questions, but agents can also help with processes. This is where connectors, action, and flows comes in. Think of this way. The conversation gathers intent and details, then an action or flow does the work, such as creating a task, sending a notification, or updating a record. Triggers decide when a topic's run or when automation should start. For bigger solution, if it is often better to split work into multiple agents. A child agent is a smaller helper for inside a main agent. A connected agent is a separate agent that can be reused. This keeps each component focused and easier to maintain. For beginners, the idea is automation should be boring and predictable. You can start with one simple action, like creating a task or sending a Teams message, then test it end to end. Once that works, you can add a second step. This is how you avoid fragile flows and confusing agents. A good way to test it to run with the dummy data first, a test user, a test channel, and a task list. If you can run it 3 times in a row with the same results, you're ready to use it for real scenarios. So, in this lesson, I just wanted to show you and to inform you that there is a lot of tools in Copilot Studio that you can use. First, starting from, as you already know, topics, variables, entities, and adaptive cards. And we look at connectors, flows, actions, and triggers. Some of them we already saw in our previous chapters in detail, but now we will stop here and let's go to the next lesson. In the final lesson, we complete the full journey. Publishing a Copilot Studio agent to Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. This step matters because it moves your agent from a personal experiment to something that can be used in real work. In many organizations, publishing is controlled. That is a good thing. It prevents underviewed agents from spreading and helps ensure security and quality. Think of publishing like releasing an internal app. You provide a name, description, and behavior, and the organization decide where and to whom it is available. Once the agent is published and available, users can discover it and use it directly from Microsoft 365 Copilot experience. This is the moment where your agent becomes a real productivity tool. My recommendation is to treat publishing as a release process. First, you need to define your version, test it with a pilot group, collect feedback, and only then expand access. That way, users will have a good first experience and your agents will be adopted instead of ignored. And remember, publishing is not the end. It's the start of maintenance. Once people use the agent, you will learn what they really ask, which starter prompts they need, and which part of the instructions should be clarified. So this is just a beginning, and let's go to our Copilot Studio. Now, as you can see, our HR boarding assistant is already added here or published, and let's go inside our agent. And finally, if we go to channels, you can see that we can share our agent. I want to share this agent to my M365. You can use this agent to share it from demo website to Microsoft channels, to other channels, as you can see, to Facebook, WhatsApp, Slack, and other customer engagement hubs. If I click on this channel, you can see that we are getting an option to publish this agent. So Microsoft 365 is our cloud-powered productivity solution, which also includes Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneDrive. As you can see, publishing an agent is just a first step toward discoverability in M365 workflows within our organization. Our agent store is our central hub, as we already know, where people can find our agent. And here, as you can see, you can add this agent available to 365. You can click simply on add to your channel, and as you can see, now the channel was added. Once the channel is added, you can check this make agent available in Microsoft 365 Copilot, or you can simply, if you're not satisfied, you can edit your details. If I click on edit details, you can change the color of your icon. For example, you can add something like this, and you can change your icon if you have the appropriate icon. This needs to be a PNG format file with less than 100 kilobytes in size. Then you can add your short description, long description, and show an agent disclaimer in M365, for example. You can toggle this on, and Teams settings. You can decide where and how your agent should function in Teams. You can check this if you want to user can add this agent to a team. You can add this to at the group at meetings chat, for example, and you can add your developer name. So I can choose that this is my developer name, and I'm happy with that. Let's click on save. And finally, I can add this availability option. I can copy the link of my agent. I can download this agent, show with my teammates and users share format, shared users. It is another option. And of course, you can see agents in Teams. Let me click on save, and we are now, our channel is added. But before we go to our admin center, let's go to availability option, and you can see that you can copy your link here or download a file for this HR boarding assistant, and then you must decide who you want to share your agent with. If I click here, you can show to my teammates and share users. Let's click here, and I will add my name and click on share. That's it. Let me just show to anyone in my organization. I will now submit to this App Store for organization in Teams App Store. Okay, and our agent is submitted and waiting for approval for my Teams admin, for example. Then we must go to our M365, as you can see, and if we go to agents, all agents, request, you can see that I have agent AI builder. Let me just refresh this, and you can see we have our HR onboarding assistant. Now, if I click here, I can click to publish to store. I will now select my agent, host products. As you can see, Copilot Microsoft 365 Teams. I will choose to all users. Select users or group who will have the agent pre-installed optional. I can, for example, check this all users. Let me click on next. This is apply template. You can choose a policy template to automatically apply to this agent. I will leave everything as it is. Let's go to next. I will accept all permissions and click on publish. So we are publishing our new agent. As you can see, this is the whole process. Let's click on done, and if I now refresh, you can see that I have one more agent here. And finally, if I go to all agents and refresh this, I can see my agent here. This is our onboarding agent. And finally, we can use this HR onboarding assistant created by my name. Of course, I can add my name if I want from my team. I can edit my detail, as you can see, and here I can, for example, add my name. You can add your developer name here. And finally, right from here, we can start using this agent. And this agent was made in Microsoft Copilot Studio. So if I, sorry, this is my, if I trying to create some prompt, let's try something like this. Onboard assistant will try to answer me, and as you can see, he recognized me, and this will be escalated to a representative. Is not currently configured for this agent. However, this agent could provide information about how to get in touch with someone in another way. And if there's anything I can help you with, you can ask this agent. And to be honest, I forgot what I want to ask this agent, but it really never mind. The whole process of this action is to just to see how can we create and work or publish our agent from Copilot Studio in M365. Now that you know how to publish your agent in Copilot Studio or in Teams, if I go to Teams, I can use this HR onboarding assistant once again. So this is the whole process of how can you create a Copilot, an agent in Copilot. How can you publish this agent, and how can you bring this agent to, or publish this agent to our Copilot Studio chat. Thank you for watching, and this was the last demonstration in this course. And just to remind you few things, if you want to use a different agent, simply click on add, and you will be able to, let me open a new chat. If I use this add sign, you can choose a different agent right from your chat, as you can see. And here is our HR onboarding assistant, as you can see, built using Microsoft Copilot Studio. And that's it. Don't forget, once again, when you are using these pre-built agents like Researcher and Analyst, you have only 25 combined times 2 for 1 month. And you need to have the full Copilot license to use this feature. Thank you once again, and I will see you in the next chapter. Now that you have completed the full journey from understanding Copilot basics to building and publishing an agent, the best next step is to deliberate practice. Pick one real scenario from your daily work, for example, weekly status update, onboarding FAQs, or summarizing project documents, and build a small version 1 agent with a narrow purpose, clear instructions, and 2 or 3 starter prompts. Using it for a week, track what your users actually ask, and refine the instructions what on a real usage instead of assumption. As your scale, treat agents like products. Keep knowledge sources focused, respect permissions, and roll out through a pilot group before wider publishing. Define ownership, who maintains instruction and sources, set a lightweight review process, and document the right way to use. the agent in one sentence so adoption stays high. This approach protects quality and reduces risk, especially when agents are connected to sensitive content or automation. When you are ready to go further, deepen your Copilot Studio skills, design topics for repeatable conversation, use variables and entities to improve reliability, and introduce sections, flows, only after the conversation experience is stable. Finally, build a simple test habit, keep a small set of standard questions, and rerun them after each charge, so your agent stay consistent over time. With that foundation, you can confidently move from beginner agents to production-ready assistants that create measurable business values. So, in this course, we learn what Copilot is, how LLMs works, and why permission matter. Then we saw how can you use pre-built agents like Researcher and Analyst effectively. You learn how can you create custom agents with Agent Builder and Copilot Studio. You then learn how can you publish agents to Microsoft 365 for your team. And the best practices is to follow safe habits, review outputs, respect permissions, and start small. You started from zero, now you can build, share, and publish your agents. Once again, thank you for completing this course. You now have a clear practical foundation. You understand the Copilot landscape. You know when to use chat versus an agent, and you have seen the full end-to-end lifecycle: design, build, test, share, and publish. Most importantly, you have a repeatable pattern you can apply to your own real scenarios instead of relying on trial and error. My final advice is simple. Start small, ship a version 1, and improve based on usage. Pick one workload that matters to you, keep the agent focused, and measure success by whether it saves time and produce consistent outputs. If you build this habit, you will progress quickly from beginner experimentation to reliable agents that your team can trust. Also, we only start to learn Copilot Studio, so this is we just scratch the surface. So if you want to learn further, you can find a real good courses on YouTube or a different platforms for learning, and you can simply learn more about topics, variables, how can you work with nodes, how can you add entities, how can you use adaptive cards, and start to build really great agents for you, for your company. If this course helped you, consider subscribing and leaving a comment with your role and the first agent you plan to build. I read feedbacks and use it to shape future lessons. In the next videos, I will try to get more deeper into some of these M365 features, evaluation and testing, and real-world governance patterns for enterprise rollouts. Once again, thank you. This was Copilot from Zero to Agents by me. Feel free to subscribe, like, and share, and leave a comment. Once again, thank you, and I will see you in some other course.